Hello, hello. I hope we're all doing okay. I hope we're all doing okay. Just gonna mute myself on the stream. I do hope the chat and everything is all good. Okay. Right. So, before we begin, I have a little... I'm going to explain a little something, because I made a big oopsie. A big bouquet of oopsie daisies in the last stream. During the last stream, I accidentally left my music on, which didn't impact the stream at all, but it did make the footage kind of unusable for when I was going to use it to make a YouTube video. So, luckily though, it wasn't the entire stream as a whole that day. It was just the second part of the day. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to go back and just redo. We were up to day 3, but I'm going to redo day 2. Since I kinda messed up. So, yeah, apologies about that. Really, yeah, I apologize. We'll see how it goes, though. Just make sure my microphone isn't too close to me. As I talk, I'm just looking at the levels now. Bit closer? Bit closer. Hello. Should be okay. Yeah, it looks like it's just about. At least on OBS, it's going into the yellow, so I guess it should be fine. Okay. Right, let's, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get on. So, yeah, we did get up to day 3, but I'm gonna redo day 2, because I accidentally left my music on, which kind of melded together with the in-game music and just messed everything up. I'll get it done. We'll get it done. I know what I'm doing for that anyway. Oh, actually, there's something I am missing. Something that completely slipped my mind is I forgot to bring up my little game guide for my thing. Let me just bring it up real quick. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're good now. Right, let's get started. Back to day 2. Yes, I am sure. So, let us begin. I was having a dream. It seemed like I was in some kind of vacuum with nothing. It seemed like I was in some kind of vacuum with nothing but nothing around me. But not only around, I was the only creature in the universe. As if the universe had returned to a state of singularity right before the Big Bang. And something was just about to happen. Suddenly, I heard a voice. I could not make out the words, but it sounded familiar. The voice was whispering something gently, as if soothing me. And then I realized it was the voice of that strange girl from the bus. The girl from the dream. But what was she trying to tell me? Who is she? I woke up. Bright sunlight struck my eyes. It was almost noon. After stretching lazily on the bed and yawning, I started to recall the previous day. In a few seconds, all its events passed before my eyes. The bus, the camp, the local inhabitants. No, that's just wrong. Not this whole situation, not me being here. It was wrong by default. I did that wrong. Not this whole situation, not me being here. It was wrong by default. My attitude towards everything... My attitude towards what was happening was wrong. Because yesterday, I fell asleep here just like that. And before that, I chatted nicely with the local pioneers. Even managed to crack a few jokes. How can I act like that in such a situation? I should be frightened, startled by every little rustling. Should I avoid all contact with potential hostile creatures? The last day's events were getting hazy, like I had a hangover. This really feels like a morning after a heavy drinking party. Yesterday's natural, flawless, absolute normal conduct becomes a nightmare in the morning. A grotesque illustration from the Divine Comedy. Yes, it's just like that, and I can't change the past now. Then again, I had probably assessed the situation and was acting accordingly. I glanced around, trying to figure out whether I had been thrown somewhere else. But Olga's cabin looked the same as yesterday. Everything seemed to be in its place, except for a pioneer uniform, which was hanging from the bedhead. I fumbled with it, in distraught, and tried it on. At least this is better than walking around in winter clothes. Wish I could see myself, but I looked like a clown. And for that, I needed a mirror. At least a tiny one. I finally found one on the wardrobe door. Holy! I looked at the newfound pioneer and jumped away in surprise. There was some teenager on the other side of the mirror. He resembled me, but he wasn't me. Where did the weak stubble go? Where were the bags under my eyes, the slouch, that deathly fatigue on my face? It seemed that I had not been thrown back in time or into a parallel reality, but simply had changed bodies with someone else. It seemed that I had not been thrown back in time or into a parallel reality, but instead I had simply changed bodies with someone else. Right, that's That's real simple. Such things happen every day. I took a closer look at this stranger, and only then I realized that it was actually me. It just wasn't today's me. Maybe the one from between my school and university years. Well, at least that's something. There you go. The person in an extreme situation did fail to notice the elephant in the room after all. But the cabin leader noticed it, and last night she told me off for addressing her without proper respect. Ah, screw that. I doubt my appearance affects anything else. If the clock was not lying, breakfast was long over. Oh well, I'll try to find something in the canteen. It worked out well yesterday with Slavya, didn't it? Those memories made me smile involuntarily. Those memories made me smile involuntarily. Involuntarily. I can't do the last bit. Involuntarily. This is always the problem with reading out loud. Involuntarily. Can I replace the word? Made me smile. Is there another word for involuntary? Let me think for a moment. Made me smile uncontrollably. Could that work? Those memories made me smile uncontrollably. Sure, let's try that. Those memories made me smile uncontrollably. The sun was shining brightly outside. A light breeze was blowing. A beautiful summer's day. I had not felt so good in the morning for several years. All problems were gone, vanished into clouds that were white as snow. Olga came out of nowhere. See if I can remember the voice. Good morning, Semyon. Semyon. Good morning, Semyon. Mon? I smiled, doing my best to show that, no matter what, my morning was indeed good. You only just arrived yesterday, so I decided not to wake you up. But breakfast... Never mind. Here, take this. She handed me something wrapped in paper. Judging by the oily stains, there had been to be sandwiches inside. Oh, thank you. Now, go wash yourself. I was about to leave. Wait a second. Olga quickly ran into the house and came out to shove a small bag into my hands. Inside it I found a toothbrush, soap, a small towel, and something else. I did not look too closely. A pioneer should always be clean and tidy. Let me do your neckerchief properly first. Yours is askew. You should do it yourself once you learn how to. Do we have to? I am going to wash myself now. Yeah, right. You could get hooked on some tap and strangle me. Fine. Later then. And don't forget about lineup. Pencils, paper, drawing lines. You don't forget such things. What lineup? What do you mean, what lineup? She frowned. It's Monday today. Weird. By my approximation, it should have been Sunday. Then again, a shift in the day of the week is hardly the worst thing. Usually, we have lineups early in the morning, before breakfast. But it's Monday today, so we're having it at 12 o'clock. Don't be late. Alright, but where? At the square. Where else? There was no reason to argue. I headed to the bathing place. I knew I could forget about the separate showers and toilets, but at the sight of this malfunctioning symptom of decay socialism... I'm gonna reread that. I knew I could forget about the separate showers and toilet, but at the sight of this malfunctioning symptom of decaying socialism, a funny turtle with a tin's shell, paws taped, paw taps, and a ceramic belly, I felt sick. I was not a squeamish person, but nevertheless, standing there, I realized there was still some minimal level of habitual comfort, which I found it troublesome to do without. It's often like that. When you lose things you thought were ordinary and common, you suddenly understand just how essential they were. Screw this. If I have any choice. Screw this. As if I have any choice. The water was ice cold. While washing my hands was not an issue, washing my face and mouth became a big problem. There was no toothpaste in the bag, which Olga gave to me. I could brush my teeth without it, but there was a small round box wrapped in a towel. Tooth powder. Cute. 1 point for me being somewhere in the past. I washed myself quite quickly, also due to the ice-cold water. Someone was coming quickly, or more like running towards me. I turned around. It was Slavya, dressed in a tracksuit. This girl would probably look good in any pioneer uniform, bikini, probably even a swim... This girl would probably look good in anything. Pioneer uniform, bikini, probably even a spacesuit. How did I do her voice? Hey there. No, that sounds... Hey there. God, trying to get my throat to do this. Hey there. Oi. What the hell is that word? Ohio? Ohio. Ohio? Oh, right. Ohio, I mean, was a good morning. Yeah. Oh yeah, real smooth. Why didn't you come for breakfast? I overslept. I said it as if I was proud of it. Oh, did I? Well. I overslept. I said it as if I was proud of it. I said it as if I was proud about it. But Olga gave me some sandwiches.
Oh, great then. Don't forget about the lineup.
Yeah, sure. As if I could forget.
Right. Gotta run. Enjoy yourself.
She waved goodbye to me and disappeared around the path's bend. Looks like it's a couple of minutes until the lineup. I should quickly pass by my home to drop off my washing bag and eat the sandwiches, then head to the square. I swung open the door of the camp leader's cabin and rushed inside as if jumping into the last car of a departing train. It didn't turn out to be the best idea, because inside I found Olga, who was changing. I froze on the spot, trying not to breathe. Finally, the camp's leader noticed me.
Simon!
No.
Semyon!
I looked away immediately.
Have you heard of knocking? Now get out!
Yeah, that was real clumsy. Although, I did enjoy the sight. Olga followed me out in a minute. Olga followed me out in a minute.
Here, take this. Now it is your home too.
She handed me a key. I put it in my pocket. Home. Of course, if you disregard how fantastical the current events were, this camp was far from being the worst place on Earth. But to call it home? Just after one day spent here? I doubt I'll ever be able to do so.
All right, let's go. We're late.
But what about the sorry?
But what about the sandwiches? Just eat them on the way.
We were passing along the lines of pioneers' cabins, while I was tucking into the ham sandwiches, and Olga kept on... We were passing along the lines of the pioneers' cabins, while I was... Let me... redo. We were passing along the lines of the pioneers' cabins, while I was tucking into the ham sandwiches, and Olga kept on talking and talking. She was buzzing like a game of Operation with Parkinson's. But I cared about nothing but the food. Understood? Huh?
You weren't listening.
Sorry.
Today is the first day as your new life as a pioneer. And you should do your best so that it becomes a happy life.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm serious. A pioneer has many duties, great responsibilities, is conferred upon him to participate in social work, to help his juniors, to study, and study again. We here are all like one big family. And you will become We are all like one big family, and you will become a part of it.
Yeah, a part. I'd even sign a party membership card if it would save me from listening to this nonsense.
I hope that after your term here is over, you'll keep the most pleasant memories about our camp. Memories that will last your whole life.
Oh, jeez. My voice went back to...
Memories that will last your whole life.
My voice is starting to, go back deep again. Mid-sentence. And when will this term end?
Why do you keep asking such silly things?
It seems I won't get any information from her. A shame, really. This world appears to be so friendly, but it never bothered to introduce itself to me. Perhaps now I can take things somewhat easier than yesterday. It seems like I have some unspoken ceasefire with it. It isn't trying to hurt me, but I am forbidden from asking questions. Of course, this situation isn't a pleasant one, but what can I do about it? A bad peace is better than a good dispute.
The most important thing for you now is to make the best of the time you will spend here.
I'll do my best. Honestly, I was very tired of this conversation. It'd be good to know where that here is. But we came to the square. The pioneers were already lined up. What is somebody... What? Is somebody not here yet? What? Is somebody not here yet?
Nope. All here.
She looked around at her brave pioneer troops.
All right, go stand somewhere.
Weird. Why did she tell me there were no more sleeping places? While the chief was running her mouth about our plans for the week, I stared at the people. A few heads away from me stood Electronic. A little further, Lena and Slavya, and at the end of the line, Yolana. Sorry, let me redo that. A few heads away from me stood Electronic. A little further, Lenya and Slavya, and at the end of the line, Yolana and Elisa. Everyone I had met was here. Olga spoke about some competitions, and I turned my attention to the moment. Olga spoke about the competitions, and I turned my attention to the monument. Genda. I could not remember any revolutionary with a similar name. He had a weird posture too, as if he was looking around with distrust, maybe contempt, or even disdain. Probably some local leader.
Daydreaming again?
God, her voice.
Daydreaming again?
Slavia brought me back to reality. Olga stood nearby.
Remember. Still remember the plan for the week?
The plan? I will never forget the plan.
Perfect.
She looked at Slavia.
Did you bring it? Yes.
Slavia handed me a piece of paper.
It's a checklist. Here are 4 tasks to check off. Do it all today. Before you start, sign up for a club. There are some clubs at the club. Before you start, sign up for the club. For God's sake, I'm messing up. Before you start, sign up for a club. There are some clubs in the clubhouse, and a musical club in a separate building. Then, visit the infirmary. And finally, visit the library. Got it?
Yeah. The checklist seemed like a good chance. The checklist seemed like a good chance to find out something, since I had to go places I hadn't been before.
Then come on, start right now.
What about lunch?
Don't worry, I'll bring you some more sandwiches. The checklist is more important. Good luck.
Changing voices so rapidly. They departed too fast for me to ask anything else. Miss breakfast? Now I'll miss lunch too. This ain't good. Maybe I'll manage it in time somehow. Lunch starts at 1 p.m. Then again, if I go there, I might miss a place from the checklist. Okay, it's too early to go to the canteen anyway. Alright. Let's go to the... It doesn't actually matter the order that we go, so let's go clubhouse. I went to the clubhouse. To tell the truth, I never really liked extracurricular activities. At school, I used to find any excuse to skip... Stumbling. At school, I used to find any excuse... At school, I used to find any excuse to skip extra classes. At university, I had no interest in any participating in student council. What am I doing? Ugh. Right, just read it in my head first. Okay. At school, I used to find any excuse to skip extra classes. At university, I had no interest in participating in the student council. I wasn't interested in boxing, aeromodeling, or sewing. So I came here just to check off the box. Nobody was there. I found myself in something like a hut of a junior robot enthusiast. There were wires and simple printed circuits scattered everywhere. Chips. And on the table proudly stood a oscillograph. I heard voices from another room, and then two pioneers appeared. One was electronic, and the other I didn't know. Ooh, this guy's voice. How did I do it? I did it very fancy. Wait, let me practice it.
Hello. Hi, Semyon.
Yeah, it was like that.
Hi, Semyon. We've been expecting you.
It seems he knows everything about everyone. Why were you expecting me?
Well, of course. Because you came to sign up to our cybernetics club, didn't you?
He didn't let me answer.
And this is Shriek. He's in charge here.
I assume there's only two of you in the club.
Well, you can say it's free now.
Shriek came up to me and assertively offered his hand. His face was somewhat familiar.
Welcome to the club.
Yep.
Now I'll show you around. Make yourself at home.
Guys, I just wanted to...
We're always welcoming new members.
He said it in such a way that the anthem of the Soviet Union suddenly started playing in my head. It's amazing. I even remembered the words. In the first grade, I had a textbook with the lyrics in the back. No. I just wanted you to sign my checklist.
Yep. You sign up to our club and we'll sign your checklist.
He grinned. I was getting ready for a long and boring argument, but then I heard someone enter. I looked back, and I saw Slavya.
Ah, Semyon. I hope they're not giving you any trouble.
Now let me redo that.
Ah, Semyon. I hope they're not giving you any trouble.
She narrowed her eyes, looking at the future of the mother's robotics industry.
I know these two, they can...
Well, you know, actually, I just need to get my checklist signed. I decided to take advantage of the situation.
No problem. Give it to me.
Slavya took the paper. I marched up to Sharik.
Sign it.
Oh, that was a bit.
Sign it. Sign it.
Hold on, we're not done yet.
You're done. Sign it now.
She gave Sharik a threatening look that made him lose every possible objection. He wrote some squiggles on the checklist. I thanked Slavya, then moved on in a mellow mood. I said that wrong. He wrote some squiggles on the checklist. I thanked Slavya, then I moved on in a mellow mood. The music club? Gonna get a drink of water real quick. Throat's getting dry. The music club. A small one-level building was located some distance from the other camp building. The music club. A small one-level building was located some distance from the other camp buildings. I opened the door and entered without hesitation. There were enough instruments for a whole orchestra here. Drums, guitars, even a piano. I spent some time looking closely at every instrument, wanting to guess the time period they were from. But suddenly, I heard a crawling sound coming from underneath the piano. I think I need to put up my sensor bar. Boop. Yes. Just to be safe. A girl. Seems like she was looking for something. I'll make it smaller, wait. There you go. She was standing on all fours, in such a suggestive position She was standing on all fours, in such a suggestive position, that I hesitated to speak at first. Excuse me? What voice did I give to her? Oh yeah, I spoke really quickly.
Ah! Who's there?
She tried to stand up, but the bottom of the piano prevented her from doing so.
Ouch!
She struggled out. Sorry, did I scare you?
It's nothing. Oh, you got a checklist. You must be new here.
Yes.
My name is Miku. No, really, I'm serious. No one believes me, but it's my real name. My mother is Japanese. My dad met her when... My dad met her when he was building... Ugh.
Okay, I'm messing up.
My dad met her when he was building. Well, it wasn't him who was building.
Wait, how do you read that? I'm gonna redo the entire line.
No, really, I'm serious. No one believes me, but it's my real name. My mother is Japanese. My dad met her when he was building. Well, it wasn't him who was building. He's an engineer. And he was working on a nuclear power plant there. Or a dam, or a bridge, whatever.
She was talking so fast, she swallowed half the words she tried to pronounce. I'm Semyon.
Great, want to be in our club? It's only me here now, but it'll be the two of us then. Do you plan to play anything?
When I became antisocial, I bought a guitar and learned a few chords, but then I forgot about it, since I quit everything that required more than a couple of hours to learn. You know, I wasn't planning to do anything like that, really.
Oh, it's okay. I'll teach you. Maybe a trumpet, for example? How about a violin? I know it all, honestly.
There was no point in arguing with the orchestra girl, since there was only another cascade of words waiting to blast at me. Hey, I'll think about it. Can you just sign this for now?
Yes, sure. Give it to me. Be sure to come around to... I'll sing too. I'll sing some Japanese folk songs. Or maybe if you're not into that, something more, something else?
Sure. Thanks. Gotta go now.
Of course. Come anytime.
Not the best at reading quickly, but, oh, that was okay. The end of her sentence stayed inside. It might be nice to hang around with a guitar in the evening, but in such company... I turned to leave and came face with Elisa. She eyed me suspiciously. Why'd you come here? No, let me make it a bit more feminine. Why'd you come here? The checklist. Got it signed? Yes. Then move it. Elisa went inside, and I hurried to leave the place. Hopefully that's a good voice for her. Let's do the infirmary next. What's the point in visiting the infirmary? My health was fine, and the fresh local air clearly did me some good. I felt fresher than usual. But I just have to visit it. I entered. A common infirmary, like my school's doctor's room. A middle-aged woman sat at the table. Obviously, she was a nurse. She gazed intently at me, assessing me, while continuing to write something. Well, hello, Pioneer, said the nurse, without being distracted from her work. Good afternoon, ma'am. I have something. Sit down, please. I looked around the room. On the couch. I sat down. Strip. No.
strip.
She said all of it with an even tone. What for?
To inspect, to esculate, to check on your health, you know. By the way, my name is Violetta, but you may call me Viola.
She turned to me.
What are you waiting for? Strip.
But I have no health issues. I've got this. I neatly gave her the paper.
Later.
She took the God, this word. Let me just try pronouncing it. Stethoscope. She took the stethoscope off her neck, seeming like she intended to probe me with it. But then someone knocked on the door. The nurse answered unwillingly.
Come in.
In a moment, the door opened widely, and electronic rushed inside.
Hello. I fell during the football game. Nonsense, of course. I'm okay, but Olga...
There was a massive bruise under Electronic's eye. I doubt that could be a football injury.
Sit down. I'll have a look.
She said to him.
And you, pass me your checklist.
The nurse quickly signed it and continued.
If something hurts, come to me immediately, Pioneer.
I decided not to answer, and went outside, closing the door behind me. That nurse is surely something else. And we have the library. Actually, I love reading, but spending my days in a library under the current circumstances was... I lost my... Actually, I love reading, but spending my days in a library under the current circumstances was well beyond my scope. So I'd better hurry up with this checklist. As I stepped inside, a memory from my childhood emerged in my head. It was very vivid. I'm 7 or 8 years old. I'm at a library with my mother. While she was looking through the books I might need for my studies, I'm sitting in a corner and looking through their collection of comic books. Back then, I didn't know why they had so many, or why I couldn't take some of them with me. The notion of collective property was something my mind hadn't grasped yet at that. A lot of complicated words. The notion of collective property was something my mind hadn't grasped yet at that age. However, back then, the whole concept of property was pretty hazy to me. This memory seemed even stranger now, while I was standing in this particular camp, where they might have managed to build communism in 3 years. Soviet symbolism was all over the place, and the shelves were full of related literature. Of course, I wasn't planning to read any of these. Getting acquainted with the full collection of books by Mark X was the last thing on earth I would think of. Where's the librarian? I didn't spend much time looking for her. I looked closely. Short hair, thick glasses, rather cute face. She was snoring so peacefully, I couldn't wake her up. I can wait. If she doesn't wake up in half an hour, then maybe. I couldn't just sit there, so I took a random book from the nearest bookshelf. The World as Will and Representation. I opened it, roughly in the middle, and started reading. Oh, God. The life of a man, with its endless upkeep, wants, and suffering, is to be regarded as an explanation and paraphrase of the prerogative act, i.e., the absolute claim of the will to live. And furthermore, it is also the reason the man owns nature, his death, and thinks with anxiety of this death. Is this notion not the evidence that our existence involves guilt? At any rate, we always exist, from time to time, paying with death from our birth. Wait, I read that wrong. At any time, we always exist from time to time, paying with death for our rebirth. I keep reading it wrong. At any rate, we always exist, from time to time, paying with death for our birth. We always exist, and alternate, bear all the joy and sorrow of life, since neither of both can pass us without some effect. That is a result of our stated will to live. I'm gonna take a drink, actually. Thus the fear of death, which in spite of all miseries of life holds us firmly to it, is really elusive, but just as elusive is the impulse which has attracted us to it. This attraction itself may be seen objectively as a mutual longing glance of two lovers. They are the purest expression of the will to live in its affirmation. How gentle and tender it is. It wants happiness, and quiet pleasure, and mild joys, for itself, for others, for all. Someone knocked at the door. I closed the book quickly, and put it back in its place. What a nice habit, knocking on the door. I should pick it up. Excuse me. It was Lena.
Oh.
Hi. I smiled.
Hi. I just wanted to return a book.
She had a copy of Gone with the Wild that I saw yesterday.
Oh, Zhenya is sleeping. I'll come back later.
A voice for her. I'm awake. I turned around in surprise to look at her. She eyed me closely from behind her table.
What is it you wanted?
I need you to check here?
Give it here.
She quickly signed the paper and gave it back to me. She had this look on her face that made me want to keep quiet. Lena came up to her to return the book. In fact, Lena came up to her to return the book. I thanked Zhenya and went out. Finally, I got all the signatures. Now I had to go back to Olga and give it to her. That little bit there. I've just thought of that Shadow the Hedgehog line. Finally, I have all the Chaos Emeralds. Finally, I have all the signatures. She was sitting in front of her cabin, reading a book. Doesn't look like a good role model. Doesn't look like a good role model for the perfect pioneer that she was planning to turn me into. I wonder if her responsibilities extend beyond giving fiery speeches at the lineup, scolding Yelena, and getting involved into my moral cycle. I read that wrong. One sec. I wonder if her responsibilities extend beyond giving fiery speeches at the lineup, scolding Yelena, and getting involved into my moral, physical, and ideological growth. Here. Oh, that was actually me. Here. I offered my checklist. She placed it in her pocket without even looking at the signatures. Great. I could have signed it myself without it even going. I'm gonna get another drink. My throat is going. Little bit of a just quick test. Yep, my voice is fine now. Great. I could have just signed it myself without going anywhere.
Perfect. So you did meet our nurse?
Yes. For some reason, her question sent shivers down my spine.
Which club have you signed up for?
I didn't. I need to think first.
That's a pity. It's vital for you to sign in somewhere tomorrow.
Of course. Sure.
Right. It's time to go to dinner.
About time. I was getting hungry. I headed to the canteen together with Olga. I looked at the sky and noticed the sun was already setting. On the porch stood Elisa and Electronic, Yelena, and Slavya. As we came up, I heard what they were talking about. And never... Oh god, how do I do her voice again? And never call me Diva Chan. No, I'm starting to go weird. It's rough, but feminine. And never call me Diva Chan. I'm going weird. My voice... I'm starting to put on an accent whenever I do it. And never call me Diva Chan again, or you'll get another one.
I didn't call you that. You're hearing things.
He did. He did. I heard it all.
You weren't even there.
I was. In the bushes.
Come on, guys. Stop it.
So it wasn't a football injury. Electronics suffered earlier today. The nurse did a good job. I couldn't even see his black eye. Olga came up to them and asked them about the ruckus.
What happened? Slavya and Chief Cheskov. Alisa and Cheskov.
I didn't do anything. She shrugged with apathy and went inside.
Right. Dinner time.
Oh, hello, Mercy. Good to see you here. Yeah, we're only on day 2 at the moment for this. Right now, in this visual novel, day 2. So, if you go to my last stream, you can watch day 1. If you're curious about what happened. I entered last. There weren't too many free seats. There were a few free chairs near Elisa, across the canteen, but I'd sooner starve for a week or two than risk my head near her. There was also a seat near Yelena, but I'm not into traditional Chinese, whatever crawls cuisine. Finally, a free chair near Miku. Looks like I'll have to pick my poison. You mind if I sit here?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, no. I don't mind. I mean, yes. You can sit here.
I sat down.
Look, it's buckwheat today. Do you like buckwheat? And chicken? I don't like chicken. Well, not that I don't like it. But if you ask me, I would prefer to say stroganoff or ragout. No, maybe just a hamburger or rump steak. Do you like rump steak?
I'm not that picky about my food. And that's the simple truth.
Oh, is that so? But the desserts, you know, they aren't really good here. I like ice cream. Do you like ice cream? I just love 48 Kopecks and Ligon Scuff. Oh, sorry, I keep talking about myself.
They just straight up put Hatsume Miku in this? Yes, they did.
Maybe you like Eskimo better.
Dinner was starting to get on my nerves thanks to such company. And I'm not the kind of person that can just ignore someone who's talking to them. Even her. We're at the same table after all.
You know, I once bought an waffle cone. I once bought a waffle cone and started eating, and you know what? I found a screw in there. A real screw. Can you imagine that? Or, what's it about? I don't really know. Screws are those that you tighten with screwdrivers, and bolts are those that you turn with wrenches, yes?
If there was a speed eating contest going on, I would probably be in the top 3 winners by now. Right, I'll be going. Enjoy your meal. I got up and headed outside. Miku was saying something, but her words were drowned out by the crowd of loudly dining pioneers. I went out and sat on the stairs, waiting for my dinner to settle down a bit. I just sat there and watched the night falling. Everything is so lively here during the day. Kids laughing and yelling happily, fooling and running around, constant chatter, games going on, and swimming at the beach. But after the dark, the camp changes entirely. The sounds of the day were swept for silence. The sounds of the day were swapped for silence, only now and then broken by crickets and chirping, or a night bird. The camp was going to sleep. In every shadow you could see things, maybe a ghost, or a spirit of the forest, or a wild animal. A human being would be the last thing to expect. Excuse me. That is how it looked last night, and now the locals followed their every routine very strictly. In the day, the camp was theirs. In the night, it belonged to more of the forces of nature than to humans. Someone touched my shoulder. I looked back. It was electronic.
Let's go play cards.
Cards?
Yep, I invented a new game. A good one.
Good. Like, how?
Well, first we have to find the cards. Well, first we have got to find the cards. Then I'll tell you.
Then go find them. What's the problem?
Only Olga has them, and she won't give them to me.
Why so?
Well, the last time when we...
Olga and Slavya came out onto the porch.
Olga, Semyon just wanted to ask you about the possibility of getting playing cards.
Actually?
For what purpose? We invented a new game.
Not we. You did.
What game? I need the cards to show you. I don't like this. Well, if Semyon is with you, then perhaps it's okay.
To be really honest,
Well, we'll go fetch them together.
oh, wait, wrong person.
Well, we'll go fetch them together.
Let me try and get her voice now.
We'll go fetch them together.
Go get the cards with Slavya. If you don't mind.
Sure, let's go.
We headed towards my cabin. Roughly halfway there, Slavya stopped.
Hey, I just remembered. The cards are in my cabin.
Good timing. And where's that?
It's just down the road. Let's go.
We reached the cabin that, in fact, looked more like a trailer.
Just wait here a minute. Just wait here a minute. I'll be back.
It took her a few seconds to come back.
There.
She showed me a deck of pretty worn out cards. These must be marked in and out.
That's unsportsmanlike.
That sounded a bit...
That's unsportsmanlike. What happened to fair play? That's unsportsmanlike. What happened to fair play?
Tell me about it. It's hard to cheat when you don't know the rules.
Shall we go?
Let's go. On our way back, I decided to try and find out about something. How long have you been here?
In this camp? About a week.
I see. And where did you come from?
I'm from the north.
That is...
The cold north.
She looked at me and smiled. Looks like nobody in this camp is inclined to answer even the most innocent of questions. I tried to approach from another angle. And what do you like?
What do you mean?
Well, your hobbies.
Oh, I like nature.
Strange. She's not very talkative today for some reason. Nature, I see. Want to become a natural historian?
More like a normal historian. More like a normal historian. I was always interested in our nation's history.
That would suit her well indeed. It appeared that among all the locals, she was the only one who had nothing to hide. What if she came here just like me and simply could not trust anyone enough to tell? I tried testing the waters.
And why did you choose this camp? I didn't. My parents got a voucher for me from their work.
Another failure. Well, if you could choose.
It's nice here. I don't think I would choose some other place if I could. Here it's like you are becoming another person.
That wasn't how... That wasn't how I saw it. What do you mean, another person?
It's just that there's so many possibilities. You can learn so much, meet so many new, interesting people here.
Now she started to sound like our chief, which raised a red... Now she started to sound like our chief, which raised a red flag for me. I decided to stop with the questions for now. When we came back, Olga told Slavya.
I just remembered that the cards were at your place. It's okay. We got it. Good, good.
Slavya and Olga went inside. I was going to follow, but someone grabbed my hand. Elisa. One sec. Little drinky drink. Her gaze sent shivers down my spine. Not a nice one. Ooh, I read that wrong. Her gaze sent a shiver down my spine. Not a nice one. You want something? I asked carefully. You gonna play? No, not that deep. Jesus. You gonna play that stupid game? Yeah, something wrong with that? Nope, nothing. She was turning to leave, but then slowly looked back and smiled. So, you play cards? A little. I couldn't figure out what she wanted. So only Durak, and that's it? As if you're a poker star. Well, yes, technically. Then you don't have a chance. Why? Because. So you know the rules? Of course. Well, you'll have the upper hand. I couldn't see why would we go on talking and... I couldn't see why we couldn't go on talking, and I motioned towards the door. No, I read that. I couldn't see why we would go on talking, and motioned towards the door. Why do you keep trying to leave? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Let's make a bet. What do you mean? You're such a slowpoke. The cards. What else? And what do you want to bet on? That I'll win. That's quite a possible outcome. I agreed calmly.
So, are you afraid?
Nope, I'm not. I'm not big on bets when I don't like my chances.
And you're not big on taking risks, too.
Such an astute observation. I'm impressed. Right, then
No, you're not.
Now what? I sighed in exhaustion. She was starting to annoy me with her rubbish talk about some pointless bet.
If you won't beat me, then I'll tell everyone you tried to seduce me.
What?
You heard me.
I could imagine her doing this. Don't be stupid. Who's gonna believe you? I've only been here less than 2 days. Besides...
Want to try your luck?
Right. And what will happen if I win?
I won't tell anyone anything.
And if I lose?
Slowpoke mode again. I'll tell everyone you tried to seduce me. I told you already.
So, you're telling me now that I have to work to prove that I didn't do something when I didn't actually do it?
If that's how you want to look at it.
Not a simple decision. On one hand, it was stupid to agree. I didn't know the rules and gambling wasn't my thing. On the other hand, she could really make my life hell. Then again, can I even trust her? She can do it even if I win. She can do it even if I win.
So, have you made a decision?
I was gonna answer, but suddenly Lena came around from behind.
What? Nothing.
Lena hurried inside.
So,
I don't think for the route I'm doing, it matters what I do here. Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter. So I can just choose whatever here. Well, no, I'm not gonna bet, because I'm gonna lose anyway. Do not bet with Elisa. No, I'm not gonna participate in your shady business. Sorry about that.
you wuss.
She shrugged and went up the stairs. Before she went inside, she flung at me.
Prepare to face the consequences.
Consequences? What if I made the wrong decision? After all, she can really complicate things here for me. On the other hand, I just couldn't allow myself to be pulled into something so reckless. I let out a heavy sigh and followed her through the door. Inside, everything was ready. A few pioneers stood here and there, chatting. The tables were moved out of the way to make room for the players and spectators. I looked around. Something was going on in the far corner. When I came closer, I saw a large piece of paper with a diagram drawn on it. My name was amongst the players. And who came up with all this? I patted Electronic, who was standing near.
Well, of course, it was your most humble servant.
He bowed to me jokingly, This made me uncomfortable to the point of squirming. And why in the world am I among the players then? I was disappointed. A few seconds ago, I thought I still had a slim chance to evade this tournament. Then I wouldn't have to fear Elisa's revenge. For not... Sorry, let me reread that. A few seconds ago, I thought I still had a slim chance to evade this tournament. Then I wouldn't have to fear Elisa's revenge for not betting with her. But now that hope was gone.
It was by pure coincidence.
Yeah, right. Coincidence.
Except that I was already acquainted with every one of the contestants. While there were a few dozen other pioneers standing in the room, I was seized by anxiety. It's the feeling of being watched while standing in an empty room, with no windows and doors. Will there be a prize? I asked him lazily. I wanted to distract myself with a pointless conversation. Electronic was just about to answer, when Yolana came out of nowhere and started jumping around him.
Prizes, prizes. I heard something about prizes.
Do you know the main ethos of the Olympic Games? It's not winning, but the taking part that counts.
A what? No.
You'll understand when you grow up. She made a face and jabbed Electronic in the ribs.
So what about the prize? Well, I don't know. It's not up to me.
He made a helpless gesture. Really? If they came up with this stupid game, at least they could give the winner a chocolate medal or something. Yelena suddenly jumped and raced off to somewhere. I wish I was that optimistic. So, what about the rules?
Wait a bit. Not everyone is here yet.
I looked around the canteen. Elisa, Slavya, Lena, Miku, Sharik. We're here. Seems like everyone's here.
No, not everyone. Zhenya isn't here.
Does he feel uneasy, or is it just me? She's not here, so what? Pick someone else instead.
No, I can't do that.
He answered slowly. I decided not to ask exactly why he can't do this. Well, go fetch her or something. I don't know.
He can't go. He's the host of the event.
The camp leader appeared as if from nowhere.
But Olga!
Electronic whined.
Semyon will go. Right, Semyon?
She looked at me and smiled. Of course. Who else? Where is she?
In the library, I guess.
Okay. I dragged my feet towards the door.
Please hurry.
What's Electronic's problem anyway? Night is coming soon. I was going to take my time, so I slowly paced towards the library. But I found Zhenya before I even expected. She was sitting on a bench at the square, staring at Zhenda, who was silent as always.
What are you doing here?
Oh, sorry, wrong voice. What are you doing here? Everyone is looking for you.
Sitting here, as you can see.
She frowned. Well, let's go.
I don't want to.
She looked away. Why not?
I don't want to.
I sat beside her. Listen, I don't like the idea of this contest myself. But we can't let everyone down. I surely didn't sound like myself there. A couple of days ago, I wouldn't even think of saying something like that. Zhenya looked away. Zhenya looked at me with surprise on her face.
So, everyone is waiting for me?
Isn't that exactly what I said? Yes.
I won't go anyway.
She frowned and hid her face. But why? I gestured with my arms, wondering.
I don't really know how to play.
God, I'm losing my voice with her.
I don't really know how to play cards.
So what? Same problem here.
Then how do you play?
What? You can only do things that you read about in books or something?
Of course.
She wasn't surprised. And what if you ended up in what if you ended up in What if you ended up in an And what if you ended up in Right, let me just read it in my head. Okay. And what if you ended up in Antarctica? And what if you ended up in Antarctica and have to rely on hunting polar bears to survive?
Polar bears don't live in Antarctica.
Zhenya smiled. Doesn't matter. It's just an example. Come on. It's not like someone's life depends on the results. She took her time to think.
I just don't want to let everyone down.
Right. I agreed sarcastically.
And don't you think anything funny about that?
I didn't get what she meant, but anyway. Obviously everyone has their weak spots. In a minute, we were both back at the canteen. Everyone looked at electronic.
So?
He cleared his throat.
Each round consists of one game. In the case of a draw, you replay the game. After this, the loser drops out and the next round begins. Since the number of volunteers...
He looked at me.
Since the number of players is just 8, we'll only have 3 rounds. Is everything clear?
The crowd cheered.
And what about the prizes? The prizes, what are they?
Elaine, cut it out.
Slavya stepped forward and tried to catch Yelena.
I won't rest until the prize is mine.
Seemed like this girl alone had enough energy to warp jump to Alpha Centauri. What the hell is that word? Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri? Seemed like Seemed like this girl alone had enough energy to warp to Alpha Centauri.
Prizes, prizes!
She repeated over and over.
Stop it.
Slavya tried to reason with her. Electronic seemed to be getting dizzy with all this running around. Let's start already, I said calmly, and added to Yolana. Or you won't get any prizes. Looks like my argument got through, so she took her place. Slavia followed her, giving me a grateful smile as she passed. The pioneers finally settled down. I approached the table, and Lena sat behind. You don't mind? She looked up and blushed. Don't worry, I don't know the rules myself. And how can I? And how can I be sure that it's not only myself? I sat down. Turns out we'll have to play the first round together.
Yes.
Finally, Electronic started to explain the rules. But the tutorial, I'm just gonna skip it. Skip the tutorial. I need to lose anyway, so it doesn't matter. Electronic, who was silently watching our game, nodded in approval. Electronic, who was silently watching our game, nodded in approval. Looks like now we're getting somewhere.
Now during the round, opponents trade cards 3 times. Keep an eye on each other. Penetrate your opponent with your eyes.
I chuckled. Penetrate.
What's so funny?
Oh, never mind. I tried to keep a straight face. He stared at me for a moment, then moved on.
And then we turn the cards up to see whose hand is better.
Electronic went back to his diagram. Lose against Yolana. At last I won a single round. I left the canteen. It was still too early to sleep, and a short walk looked like a good idea. Where should I head to? We need to go to... the bus stop. The events of the past day kept flashing brightly in my head. That damn useless checklist. This stupid tournament. Right now, I don't want to do a single thing, or talk to anyone. I don't even want to start thinking about my current situation. I came to the square, and took a seat on the bench, while staring at the... Gender statue. I came to the square and took a seat on the bench, while staring at the Gender statue. I don't know how long I was sitting like this, but finally crickets chirping brought me back to reality. I got up and blindly walked in a random direction. The bus stop. Somehow, for the second day in a row, I found myself at this place. Maybe subconsciously, I felt that the bus will be waiting for me, to take me back to the real world. Very unlikely. On the other hand, why not? It got dark already. I was just standing there, gazing at the sky. Astronomy has never attracted me so much as astronaut. Astronautics. Astronomy has never attracted me so much as astronautics. Astronomy has never attracted me so much as astronautics. It always has been more interesting to look at the pictures of the far constellations, nebula, and galaxies made by artists than try and figure out how to measure angular velocities and masses of stars. But, certainly, I would be able to find a Great Bear constellation. But if I get lost in the snow forest, and my only way to find my way out would be the little knowledge that... Sorry, I'm losing myself. Let me get a drink. But if I get lost in a snow forest, my only way to find my way out would be that little knowledge about moss growing on the north side of a tree. However, I still don't think that would help me get out. I was about to head back to the camp, when all of a sudden, I caught a noise behind the gates. Who is it this time? Near the clubhouse, it seemed like somebody was walking down the path to the forest. It was so dark that I could see nothing but a blurred shadow. I wondered who it could be so late at night. A pioneer? Breaching discipline? A pioneer breaching discipline? Tisk, tisk. I followed the mysterious shadow rapidly, but still carefully. I was moving path to path, and after a while I found myself in the depths of the forest, finally losing sight of the stranger. Maybe I should turn back. The trees parted before me, and a magnificent view of a small forest lake struck my eyes. And then I noticed Slavya. She was skipping and fluttering about, letting her neckerchief loose and her shirt fly up in the air. This whole scene seemed even more fantastic than my own presence in this camp. Slavya looked like a spirit of the forest, or perhaps a Nephilim. She looked so natural, more like an ancient goddess than a human being. I remembered all the theological theories. Sorry, I'm messing this up. I remembered all the theological theories, which I read some time ago. This reminded me of pantheism, the idea that God is in all that is, everything that we see around. What if it were not aliens, or a time warp, but divine providence that brought me here? Indeed, Slavya mentioned that she loves nature. So it turns out that even she is an enigma, isn't she? Slavya went into the water. I was ashamed, but I couldn't take my eyes off her. Silvery moonlight reflected off her wet skin, making Slavya look like an ancient Greek statue. The Venus di Milo, maybe. The scene was so fabulous that there was no room for carnal lust, only sublime admiration of true beauty. I was simply admiring the perfection of Slavya's form and forgetting everything else. Maybe this isn't hell, but heaven. A branch treacherously snapped under my foot. Slavya turned around, but there was no way to recognize me in the darkness of the night. Or at least it seemed so. She rapidly rushed out of the lake, put on her clothes, in a hurry, and vanished into the sight. She rapidly rushed out of the lake, put on her clothes in a hurry, and vanished from sight into the forest. I quietly went after her. Slavia was quietly trailing among the trees, choosing the easiest paths and gracefully avoiding the sheared. Slavia was quietly trailing among the trees, choosing the easiest path and gracefully avoiding the sheared trees, pits, and snags. It was a hard job to keep pace with her. Moreover, I definitely didn't want to get caught. Firstly, peeping is just no good. And secondly, in fact, it still remains to be seen what she was doing here. Although it somehow seemed to be innocent enough, it didn't seem to have anything to do with my presence in this world. It was just innocence. It was nothing worth spying on. At last we came out at the square. Slavia stopped and turned around. Slavia stopped and turned around to face me.
Did you think I didn't notice you?
That's not her voice.
Did you think I didn't notice?
I can't do her voice now. My throat is gone.
Did you think I didn't notice you?
No, I'm going complete British now. I can't do her voice. Oh, let me get a drink.
Did you think I didn't notice you?
No, I can't do her voice anymore. I think I've lost it.
Did you think I didn't... Did you think I didn't notice you?
Yeah, I'm just going full... My British is coming out. I can't... Or at least I'm noticing it. I don't know if anyone else notices it.
Did you think I didn't notice you?
I was a bit confused, but I put on a mask of visible calmness. How long ago?
I'm not sure.
Slavia came closer.
5 minutes ago, maybe?
So, even there at the lake?
What lake are you talking about?
Well... Slavia seemed to be sincerely surprised, so I simply couldn't figure out whether she was pretending that nothing had happened, or... Well, never mind. I made up my mind to behave like a gentleman, as gentlemanly as it was possible in these circumstances, and said nothing.
All right.
Unexpectedly easily, she agreed.
What a beautiful night.
Slavia took a seat on the bench and looked up at the sky. I guess such nights are common here.
Well, probably.
Why so uncertain?
I don't know. I just got lost in thought.
Thinking about what? She stared at me, like she was looking for something on my face, but then went back to stargazing.
Now and then, I fall into such a mood at night. During the day, I'm wrapped up in work with no time to relax, while at night, it's so quiet in here. Now and then, I fall into such a mood at night. During the day, I'm wrapped up into work with no time to relax, while at night, it's so quiet here. If it wasn't for the crickets and the night birds, one would feel like being face to face with the universe.
For some reason, I didn't think Slavya as someone who would talk about such matters. As for me, it's even too quiet here.
Is it?
Yes, really. Anything wrong with that?
Well, all right.
She stood up quickly and fixed her skirt.
It's time to go to bed.
Good night. I watched her walk away. Our talk might have been about nothing, but it seems to me that it had some deep and secret meaning, which could only appear here, only next to Slavya. It seemed like, even in my situation, such moments of peace and sincerity are absolutely necessary. They make me feel united with the universe. I'd even say vital, especially now. I'm not sure how much time I spent sitting there, but after a while I started to feel sleepy. For the first time today, I finally felt how tired I was. There was no light in the window, so Olga must have been sleeping already. Strangely enough, she waited for me yesterday. I entered the cabin quietly, stripped, and laid on the bed. When you think about it, my situation hadn't gotten any clearer today. In fact, I spent the whole day doing useless stuff. I would have never, ever have thought about doing something like this in real world. Let me redo that. In fact, I spent the whole day doing useless stuff. I would have never have thought about doing something like this in the real world. Sorry, one more time. I'll do it one more time. My throat is absolutely gone now. We're on the final stretch. In fact, I spent the whole day doing useless stuff. I would have never have even thought about doing something like this in the real world. Although I had plenty of time, how much time I would have here in total is still a mystery. Maybe an eternity. Or maybe there are only a few minutes left. I just didn't want to think about the past, about how I got to this camp. For the first time in a long while, I felt really tired. Not only emotionally tired, but also physically tired, psychologically tired, and God knows how else tired. I just wanted everyone and everything to shove off, starting with my own thoughts. I wanted this mess to somehow resolve itself. Or at least without my active participation. And what if I'm stuck here forever? Then I'll have to get used to it. So, just like that, I'm not ready. My consciousness slowly drifted away from me, and it became progressively harder to concentrate on something distinct. Perhaps it's better to wait until tomorrow. I rolled over and fell asleep. And we are done. That was a read right there. How long have we been going for? How long was that? Only about 2 hours. 2 hours can really wreck your throat. Well, I'm going to... Should I end it here? Yeah, it's probably for the best. I'll let my throat rest up. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in and watching. I'll see you all next Monday, where we continue on with day 3. Thank you. Bye-bye.